in all of the daily analysis of the attempts by the left to literally destroy this country. And I can't avoid talking about that. It's a requirement. It's happening. My objective here is, he's right, I want to inform as many people as possible about as much as possible, but primarily liberalism. I would love for people to get to a point where it is instinctive to reject it. Like I was just telling my golf buddy I ran into last week that was whining about how effective the pictures of the news were on Trump separating families from kids. I blew up at the guy. I mean, it probably blew up more internally than I verbalized to him, but it ticked me off. The guy knows better. But what he was worried about it being effective and so forth. And I said, well, how about a little leadership? Rather than worrying how effective it's going to be, how about standing up and when people claim that it's something and it isn't, you set them straight? You know better than this. But in the process of this, by definition, the left is pessimism. By definition, liberalism is negative. By definition, liberalism is destructive. By definition, it is punitive. There is nothing uplifting or optimistic about liberalism at all. And yet I have to talk about it. I do it in a way, I try to laugh at them as much as I can while not giving the impression I don't take it seriously. I try to inject as much humor as I can, but in the process of doing that, it's accurate to say that there isn't maybe an appropriate or corresponding amount of time spent on the positive aspects of America. I have to tell you something else, folks. And this is not a complaint it's just informing you. Everywhere I go, all I hear is complaints. Not about me, about the country. All I hear is people complaining and whining about the left and about the media. I can't escape it. I'm subjected to it by virtue of living, which is understandable. People that I know are fed up with all this. Now, given all of that, I have not stopped believing in America as the single greatest place on earth. I still believe that despite everything the left is doing, that if you want, you can become as successful in this country as you ever have been, maybe more so. I think in many ways, life itself, not only in this country, but around the world, is better than ever. And I think it improves each and every day. I think opportunity is expanding each and every day. Wealth, standard of living, technological advance, medical advance, it's getting better every day. The opportunity for education to learn, the opportunity to use that education to become whatever you want to be. This is simply, and it remains, the best place on earth to be the best you can be. Nothing has changed. What's happening is that all of that is under assault. What's happening is that all of that is under attack. What happens is that everything that's best and bright and brilliant about America is under a daily, constant assault. It has to be defended. And I'll admit that in the process of defending it, I may not spend enough time reminding people how great we have it and how much you are in control of your destiny. But if you are going to grab your destiny, if you're going to reach out and grab it and start controlling it, you have got to stop either being affected by the media or stop watching it. Because I'm telling you that if you have enough of a diet of that, you're going to lose all ability to be optimistic. They're going to drive it out of you. You cannot escape it unless you turn it off. It takes a Herculean effort to ignore it while you're watching it. It takes incredible boundaries to be able to maintain your upbeat, positive attitude about America and your life while watching the media. You've got to have boundaries to where the crap they tell you bounces right off and doesn't affect you. Very few people have strong boundaries like that. But both things are true at the same time. We live in the best country on earth, and it's never been better. It's also never been worse in some ways. But the fact that it's never worse in some ways are not canceling out the greatness that exists in this country, primarily in our people, and the opportunities that exist for being the best you can be, however you define that. But there are people working on you every day claiming that you can't do that and that you shouldn't do that it's unfair if you become the best at something, that it's short-sighted, that it is something you should feel guilty of. People are being worked on constantly, daily, by the media and the left to feel guilty and bad about being happy, about being content, about being successful, because they show you a never-ending litany of all the misery and sadness, and then they blame you for it. And you cannot pay attention to this stuff. These people are poison. The media is a constantly injected poison into the very nervous system of this country each and every day. And if you don't have the ability to have a personal antidote, to watch it and ignore it, it's going to affect you. Now, I have that ability. It is my job, it's my requirement, and I have those boundaries, and I'm able, because I know them, I instinctively know that what they do is destructive. Let me give you just the recent example here. Listen to this. Let me read you a headline. Pence to Democrats, stop spurious attacks on ICE. Let me read you the first paragraph. This is a classic example of the subtlety of media lying, media crap, and media distortion that works on way too many people who do not know yet how they operate. Vice President Mike Pence on Friday continued the White House's efforts to make a controversial border security agency known as ICE a major midterm election issue, saying that it arrests criminal illegal aliens who are poisoning our youth. Who the hell has made ICE an issue? Not Pence, not Trump. But here's roll call claiming they've made it an election issue. And notice that the implied statement here is saying that ICE arrests, and then they have in parentheses, criminal illegal aliens. So if you don't know how to read this, you're going to think that Pence and Trump are crazy, and that Pence and Trump are telling ICE to go out and arrest innocent people because they're extremists and don't like people. That's the way this is written. Who was it that first began talking about getting rid of ICE? It wasn't Trump, and it wasn't Pence, and it wasn't anybody in their administration. It was some leftist somewhere, somebody in Antifa, Black Lives Matter, or La Raza, or wherever, picked up dutifully by the media. Then Pence today, after weeks and weeks of this stuff, goes and makes a speech to ICE defending them, and Roll Call does a story claiming that Pence and Trump are making ICE an election year issue. And that Pence had to go out there and tell them, you're doing great by arresting criminal illegal aliens, in parentheses, as though Pence knows that ICE is arresting the innocent, but that's what we want to happen because we don't like these people from such a way. It's outrageous. Just the first paragraph is all you need to know to see how the media, it totally distorts what's happening. Trump and Pence are not making an election year issue. So the left comes out and assaults something. People who believe in the agency stand up to defend it, and they get the blame for turning it into a campaign issue. You see how angry I'm getting here? Well, multiply this 10 times a day. And I'm telling you, if you cannot expose yourself to this and then let it all go at the end of the day, it's going to continue to affect you. So this is why, it'd probably be advisable and helpful if I did spend a little bit more time in reminding everybody of the virtues and the greatness and the possibilities here in America. But I also rely on the fact most of you have been here 30 years, you know that that's what I think, and you know that that's the case. And what's really happening here is an ongoing effort to help more and more people understand crap like this first paragraph in Roll Call. As I say, there's 10 or 15 examples like this every damn day from the media. CNN, yesterday with a Chiron graphic bottom, is Donald Trump a racist? Little Brian Stelter, the media guy, hosted a panel discussion. Is Trump a national emergency? You got to remember the low information, mind-numb robots watching this crap out in the airports and other places. They don't know diddly squat believing it.